Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another weekly edition of Market Rants. I'm here joined by Max, here joined by MisterSpread. We're going to talk all things crypto. In case you guys don't know, the ETH ETF got approved. Our good buddy Ethereum, right? It's a bit down on the day, but we have actually had one of the largest daily closing candles earlier this week for Ethereum in over 3 years, right? Take a look at this little squiggly line. You guys know I like to do Boomer TA, right? I just go on CoinGecko and that's it for me. So you'll see here, ETH BTC took quite a little bit of a pop, right? So once again, BlackRock is going to have an infinite twop on ETH, and that means good for our shitcoins, right? Take a look, man, at some of the top gainers. Celsius Network, I think last week they were also up there as well for whatever reason. But take a look at this, right? We're having some meme coin action, and I think that's something that we get to talk about today, right? And truth be told, I sort of think that Base, that's a layer 2 on Ethereum, is going to catch quite the monstrous bid, just as Solana did last year, right? So take a look at some of the top trending tokens on Base. We have Brett. I think Max has covered this one for quite a few months now. You'll see market cap almost $500 million right now. And I was actually listening to a space, and the individual that was speaking, I can't remember his name, he was sort of alluding to, BNB and the market cap that it reached last cycle and comparing it to what Base is right now, right? So for those of you that weren't around last cycle, you'll know that once BTC broke out of 20K, BNB was practically one of the top performers within the top 10, right? You'll see here BTC broke all-time high right around this level. And this thing basically did a 25x in a straight line, right? Barely any pullbacks. It had one pullback after 3 months of up only, right? And for those of you that were active, you'll know things like Pancake Swap and a lot of other tokens on the Binance Smart Chain were going quite parabolic, right? And, there's a bit of confluence that I'm seeing, right, between what went on with Binance Smart Chain ecosystem last cycle, what went on Solana, right? Earlier this year, we had WIF basically going from like 20 mil, 30 mil market cap to billions of dollars in valuation, right? So, history never repeats itself, but it often rhymes, right? As you see here, CoinGecko and Coin market cap, they're a bit slow when it comes to listing these assets, right? Usually, even with Pepe, right? Pepe was trending on Twitter when it was 10 to 30 mil market cap, but it didn't really get that listing until, much further on. So that's what I want to talk about with you guys today. Me and Max, we did a video during the Q3 lows on Solana. I think it was trading at around 12 to 15 bucks. Me and Max, we covered it, right around this level. And, there were a ton of tokens that trended that went to, $500 million plus within the coming months on Solana. And if you guys are even active on any social media platform, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Twitter, you'll know the noise that Solana has made. And, looking at some assets on Base, I sort of think that we might be in that same situation. So, Max, I'll kick it on over to you, brother. How are you seeing things as far as the comparisons that I'm making, man? And it was good catching up with you and some of the other guys earlier today on Market Check.
Yeah, that was fun to have you on Market Check, man. It's Fridays are always fun. You never know what you're going to get with a Friday session. I feel like half the time Fridays are a little bit slow, and then randomly something cool like the spot ETF getting approved will happen. And there's just so much to talk about, and Twitter's more active and the YouTube chats are more active. You just never know with a Friday. You truly do. you just never know. But I was talking about this earlier on our show, and I'm really curious to hear what Mr. Spread has to think. But I don't think that you can overstate the significance of the spot ETF for Ethereum getting approved. If you had told me 30 days ago that we would have a spot Ethereum ETF, I would have thought that you were on drugs, truthfully. Like I would have thought that was not going to happen. I'm absolutely still shocked that it did happen. It really feels like it all came together at the perfect time, right? Like you look at the chart, You look at Bitcoin dominance looking distributive. You look at ETH BTC looking like it put in its capitulatory bottom. Bitcoin again grinding up against the previous cycle all-time high. Ethereum looking like it's basically dead in the water, and then out of nowhere we see a major political shift here in the US. Maybe it was catalyzed by, Donald Trump sort of coming out as a little bit more crypto recently and putting pressure on Democrats, or maybe it was just Larry Fink seeing an opportunity again and pulling some strings as the puppet master. I don't know. I guess I don't really care, right? Because this is such a significant moment for crypto because it does provide some regulatory clarity and framework for around what a commodity versus a security is, which is a big debate and a very impactful debate for a lot of our altcoins that we hold near and dear. So I don't see why this wouldn't kick off alt season. I don't see why we wouldn't have a very bullish summer for altcoins, because on top of my own surprise with this, and I'm very excited about it, I can say with a pretty high degree of confidence that I do not think that the market has appropriately priced in how significant this event is. So I'm very bullish altcoins here. One, because the chart looked good before this news even broke. But two, it feels like you have clear skies and a giant weight off of our back. And almost dare I say an endorsement to bid altcoins. Maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but it certainly feels like it. So those are some of my initial thoughts, but really exciting times. I said this earlier today. You are living in the most entertaining timeline. No question about it.
Max, and I'll say this, man. I'll say this, and then we can pass it over to Spread. Last Friday or Thursday, whatever day it was, right? I think it was on Friday.
Yeah.
We had a stream. The stream was called Pepe All-Time High Coming, Meme Coin Summer Melt Up. And here we are. Pepe damn near almost 50%. And let me just say, ladies and gentlemen, when you're in these markets, the best thing that you can do is never take your finger off the pulse. If you don't want to look at charts or anything, at least try to look at sentiment, right? And there's something to say about time in the market and not trying to time it, and how cycles, they never repeat themselves, but they often rhyme, right? 4 years ago, we had DeFi summer. And if you take a look at that cycle, it was a bit more constructive, right? As far as like fundamentals, right? We had all these L1s that were catching a bid, AVAX, NEAR, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But what the market has shown you over the last 18 months is that those sort of projects have really done nothing but destroy retail, right? Whether it's memes and perhaps even AI, right? Quarter after quarter, they've shown you the resiliency, even amidst Bitcoin basically chopping people to bits, right? So I just want to throw that out there and say, we told you so. We told you so. We go live.
Okay, man. You are something, man. I have to tell you.
Hey, we told you so, man. Like, the thing is, we go live each and every day. We go live each and every day.
Oh my gosh.
Right? We go live on YouTube every day. We go live on Spaces almost every day, right? Because I know I have my YouTube stream here once a week. But to pound the hammer on a narrative over and over and over again, and prices are, flatlining for weeks on end, it plays mind tricks on you, man. Like, you have to force yourself. You have to force yourself with this story. Now, MisterSpread, if you want to go ahead and share some charts, feel free to do so, man. I'll put it up on the screen so we're not staring at Pepe the entire time.
No problem. I'm just going to let you finish your rant because I really like what you said. And I can kick it off. First of all, I cannot say that I was 100% convinced, but even before the stream started, I mentioned some things. I think it was a little bit easier for Ethereum, although, first of all, thanks for having me here. And I'm really happy that also Max is joining. And coming back to what we were discussing, I was not that surprised. And actually, I'm happy that I actually won a very nice bet with my significant other, because I said, listen, I have no doubt that it's going to be approved, but this was happening recently. And the reason behind it is because I think that all the heavy pulling and all the heavy lifting was already done by Bitcoin and by Bitcoin legislation and all the groundwork and foundation was already laid out. And after Bitcoin ETF was approved, I think that it was not so hard for Larry and also for the other people who are pro crypto in United States to push also the ETF, but especially Larry, because at the end of the day, guys, let's just face it, they don't care if it's gonna be called Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, or even if they're gonna have like a meme index, right? What they care is people's interest and liquidity. So if the people want it, most likely they're gonna provide it. So first of all, I'm really happy that this happened. I'm really happy that also it happened with because of some people really pushed, like Vanek, and happy to have this from them. But I cannot say that I was really surprised, and I really like what you guys said. And one of the reasons why I kept following you from the beginning in the last, I think it's almost a year now since we're talking.
Yeah.
It's because you always had high conviction, but more than high conviction, you also had the ability to flip. I remember me and Max. I don't think that you so much, but last summer, when we were in some type of a bearish move, when Bitcoin dropped, and after that it recovered, you guys had the ability to flip immediately. So I think this is what defines a strong and able investor, the ability to adapt accordingly also with the markets. I don't think that kind of perma bear or perma bull is helping anybody, but for now, I think that things look pretty nice. I like that the ETF was approved, and I think it just opens the highway for Solana, Link, Litecoin. I think it can be a candidate, although it's not a hot topic, but Litecoin can be one of the candidates next, because it was in their boomers portfolios on PayPal for quite some time. So yeah, these are my initial thoughts when it comes to the whole ETF narrative.
Man, Pepe is up basically 3x off of its low a month ago. That is crazy. I'm looking at Bonk as well. Man, with Litecoin, right? Like I know there's some like dubious speculation, right? Like what about the old tokens, right? What about like your Dashes, your Litecoins? When are they going to get their ETFs, right? But I sort of feel that like things like that have basically faded into irrelevancy almost.
I agree with
right?
you. I agree with you.
You never really see them. And dude, on a quarter by quarter basis, Pepe is just climbing up the ranks like crazy. And, truth be told, I see Pepe coming for this bad boy right here. Pepe is barely a 2.5x away from
MisterSpread, I see in the bottom. Are you working on a Pepe chart? I'm squinting. Let's pull it, Bobby. Do you mind? You know how it puts the chart down below? I can kind of see. I recognize the Pepe structure. I've studied it too many times.
I can tell you one thing, and I'm gonna say it out loud. One of the guys in my community, he absolutely followed your calls with Pepe from the beginning, and I think he's up like 15x or something.
Yeah.
He never sold until now, and he's all the time next to you, and he pounded the table. But I was all in my AI calls, which were lucrative, but they were not as lucrative as Pepe. And I have to say, this was one of my biggest fuck ups so far in this cycle, that I didn't buy any Pepe. I bought Doji, I have Floki, so I have exposure to memes. I also bought some other small market caps, but I didn't get into Pepe. And you, hands down, I have to say, this was one of the craziest calls that I've seen you guys, besides all the others. But Pepe was an absolute fucking beast, and he's going to continue to be a beast. And imagine on this pullback, people said that the meme season, or like the meme top season, is like, what the fuck are you talking about? We rallied, I don't know even how many hundreds of percent, I think even more than 1000%. What do you expect? Like after like 65% drop, and after that another rally, you don't expect this to happen? This is usual. If you don't know that this happens for altcoins regularly 5-6 times during a bull run, it means that either this is your first cycle, either you have spaghetti hands.
Well, I appreciate I appreciate you giving us that shout out. It was actually funny. I was kind of reminiscing on like after the spot ETF got approved. I was sitting on my my patio last night. I was talking with my wife. I was like, this has just been so crazy so far. Like this cycle has just been, it's been epic. Like it's been so fun. It's been different, right? Like a very distinct difference is Bitcoin made an all-time high before Bitcoin halving. That's never happened before, right?
Sure.
So there's a lot of similarities, but it's also very different. And something that we've seen this cycle, which is something that we were anticipating because of some of the malpractice and the scammery and the VC cesspool that happened last cycle, where retail just got exploited, was a lot more emphasis on community-driven, easily digestible meme tokens. And we were following Pepe very closely. And I went back to the BB YouTube channel and I watched the first video that I ever made on Pepe in the bear market. And it's so funny now to look at how a prediction from, like middle to late 2023, like right in that region, right there, the accumulation zone, how a prediction from there ended up actually, manifesting. So it's really cool to have it all documented. I say that's my favorite part of like what I get to do, is that I'm held accountable for what I say, but two, I get to go back and kind of study what I was thinking in previous settings, and I find it really useful moving forward. But it couldn't have really worked out much better. I haven't sold any of my Pepe. Like, I bought right in that accumulation region with decent size, and I haven't sold a single one through every drop, through all the turbulence, all the FUD. I'm up about, like, I didn't buy the Pico bottom, but I'm probably up about 16x from that purchase. Haven't sold a single thing yet.
I have to stop you here. How can you sit on your chair with the balls, the big balls under your ass? Like,
that's the dude, Max. Your laugh is gonna progress over time, dude. Like Jeff Bezos.
What is? I don't know what
you ever seen that video?
Like. But you know what it is, man. I love that. Like, someone in our Discord community said that to me the other day, and I thought it was hilarious. It's I'll tell you this, like, the turbulence and the local volatility with anything, not even just Pepe, right? It can be gut wrenching. Like you were mentioning earlier, MisterSpread. This is one of the more volatile asset classes, and then also like niches within this asset class being memes.
True.
50-60% pullbacks are to be expected along the way, which can be, really, really difficult the higher you go. But I look at this, it's like, how do I sit on my ass with these giant balls underneath me? What it really is I look at all of the high time frame signals to go risk off, right? I look at where ETH BTC is at. I look at where Bitcoin USD is at. I look at where Bitcoin dominance is at. I look at where the S&P 500 is. I look at where the NASDAQ is. I look at what the Fed is doing with interest rate policy. I look at the unemployment rate. So it's like all of these high time frame, either buy or sell triggers that are going to determine whether I want to go risk on or risk off, which for me, risk on is holding a lot of Pepe and not selling. None of them are flashing, so it's like, it's easy to sit on my hands with the data that I have at my disposal. Why? In the history of crypto, we've never seen a high time frame cyclical altcoin top with Bitcoin dominance trending up for 18 months. We see the exact opposites. It's like, why would I sell my Pepe just because it's gone up a lot in a short period of time, when all of the data that I have at my disposal is telling me altcoins are nowhere near a cyclical top? It's very easy to sit on them. It's very easy to sit on my hands and do nothing.
Wabi, this is my quant. Wabi, this is my quant.
Okay. I just wanted to add. I just want to add one more thing. I hate to be that guy to bring up ETH BTC, but the fact of the matter is, over the last 18 months, anytime ETH BTC has rallied, even if it's for only 2 to 3 weeks, everyone's bags goes crazy. Everyone's bags go crazy, whether you're on Solana, whether you're on AVAX. I'm sorry, AVAX people. It is what it is. Deal with it. Let's go crazy.
You hate AVAX, bro. Why do you FUD AVAX so much? You did it today on Market Check,
it is what it is. But, ETH BTC was basically making lower lows, since the merge, from September of 2022, mid-September 2022, all the way up until like last week or the week before, where it made like a new cyclical all-time low for this cycle. It was downtrending. So you're talking about a bear market for over 18 months. And usually bear markets are anywhere between, 12 to 18 months in crypto, right? And then things just go absolutely crazy, batshit insane. So, why would I still be bearish on the ETH BTC pair at this point? Like, your risk to reward isn't really that much as a bear, right? If anything, accumulation is is called for. And I think, exposing yourself to things that benefit from Ethereum, prospering against its BTC pair would be beneficial for you as a market participant to front run that, right? And, I remember, I'll say this again, and I said this on our spaces earlier this week. I remember when the guys and myself were all in Denver, and I was sick as a dog, and it was like 1 a.m, and Max was on his laptop, and he's like, man, Pepe's about to break all-time high within the next few hours. I got to post this. If not me, then who? If not me, then who? And then I thought to myself, like, man, I got to do something. And, I ended up calling my mom, and I'm like, go here, do this, do that. And, I had to get more allocation to this thing because it was happening right in front of my eyes. And I'm like, dude, I do not want to miss out. I do not want to miss out. So, if you have something where the data, can't lie to you, right? And you've seen how Pepe reacted for the first time when Ethereum finally put in, a massive, price rally against Bitcoin, and you've seen Pepe go crazy. You now have data in front of you that's like, all right, if Pepe pulls back, this is it. And Pepe actually retraced slightly below its all-time high from last year. So you had an opportunity, right? But, I still think Pepe can probably go up like 7x from here in the next 12 months from its recent all-time high of like $6 billion market cap. So
you mean you're looking at like 50 bill market cap, Wabi, give or take, with that target?
Yeah,
maybe a little less.
I think that, if you take a look at Pepe's last rally, it basically doubled from its previous all-time high, right? It basically did from that all-time high that it hit in early May of last year, it hit a double and peaked out around there. So I think this summer, right, Pepe could potentially touch like 9 bill, right? I don't think we're going to touch 10 bill just like that. I think that's more of a, Q4 thing. So as I do think that, like, after the summer, when a lot of these ETH ETF inflows are kind of front ran and these institutions just go crazy, I sort of think that, like, we're still going to have that September / first half of October bear seasonality. So I think the market right now is producing the best risk to reward for those that want to take advantage of, extreme upside volatility, right? So what I mean by that is, like, you can have Pepe from here pull back 20%, but then, the next day or two, it'll be up like 20% above its previous all-time high. And we saw that happen during ETH Denver, right? If you guys pull up, between like February 25th to like March 15th, right around like that 2.5 week time period, you'll notice that, like, Pepe just had these astronomical moves around lower time frames. If you're trying to trade this thing on the 1 hour, you will get stopped out, man. You will get stopped out. So I think that, like, this cycle would really just be beneficial if you just park, into your high caps with memes, and then, maybe with like 30% net worth, you'll be able to do like degen stuff on Base and some of these other things on Solana, right? But for the most part, I'm basically looking at Pepe just like I did ETH last cycle, as sort of like, my risk on, risk off kind of stuff, right? And I think Pepe might honestly be one of the cleanest trades that we've ever seen. And, like, retail isn't even here yet, right? We take a look at, all these like social risk metrics, barometers, right? Like the amount of people that are on Coinbase, the amount of just people on traditional platforms, right? It's not really as frothy as it was last cycle, right? And I think Doge, when it had that like 10x move in January of 2021, it went from like, what was it, Max? It went from like 2 bill to 20 bill or 1 bill to 10 bill, something like that, right?
Pulled a 10x in like a month.
Yeah. And
Wabi, just a heads up, you're a little bit laggy right now. Like I can hear you, but you're a little bit laggy. Just a heads up.
Am I good
just
now?
It's just from your internet connection. It's just a little bit. I don't know why it's happening sometimes.
Am I good now?
You seem good now. You seem good.
Yeah.
VPN is off.
Okay, good. Yeah, you seem good.
Yeah.
Okay. Finish up, Wabi.
Oh no, that was pretty much it, man. That was pretty much it. Like, we haven't really had that crazy rush, with that same sentiment from Doge going to Pepe. So it's quite an anomaly, this whole cycle, to be honest. We've had Bitcoin break all-time high. Pepe is absolutely surging. We've had memes on Solana go from like 10 mil to half a bill to a bill plus. And it's like, it seems like a muted bull run, to be honest, but perhaps this ETH ETF truly like changes things, right? Because you're going to have an infinite twop somewhat on our altcoins.
I'm really curious when they're gonna start trading it to see some inflows, and after that, I think that we can see actually some moves in the altcoins market. But like you also guys said, it's just cyclical. I don't think that, okay, from some perspectives, of course, this cycle is a little bit different, but also if you remember in the previous cycles, there was the saying that Bitcoin is never going to drop to the previous all-time high or under the previous all-time high. And we had this in the last bear market, right? So it dropped under 20K, and actually it went lower. It went to 15K, almost also broke 15K. So we could have said that if that bear market or the last bear market was a little bit different, right? We just have to adapt. So now we had the all-time high before the halving happened, and now with all the big boys coming in and with the Ethereum ETF getting approved, I think you just adapt to the conditions. But what Max said, I think it makes a lot of sense. And when we have all these conditions being met, I didn't see any reason to go at least a bit risk off. When we have dollar who was rallying since December, but it was more of a macro bounce, in my opinion, and in the same time we had outperformance in also the stock market. Look at what S&P did. Look what Dow Jones, Nasdaq did, and they were rallying with the dollar. What do you think that is going to happen once everybody understands, like broadly understands, that the interest rates peaked? And from now, we're going to go to looser monetary policy conditions. So the credits are going to be cheaper. Most likely, companies are going to start borrowing, or they're going to start borrowing more than they did in the past. Margins are good. So the next, I don't think that I'm crazy if I'm going to say that the next 12 maybe to 18 months are still going to be pretty nice going into the elections. But I think this is for a little bit later in the talks. One thing that I want to mention, because maybe some people don't know, if you just search Pepe BTC pair, you're just going to, like randomly, like we have it, you're going to have this. However, if you type Pepe and USDT /BTC USDT, you're going to have something much more cleaner and much more beautiful chart. One that you can actually look at it and look. I mean, for the people who don't understand why the guys from Because Bitcoin are so bullish on Pepe, well, you have to be bullish on things that outperform, not just versus their stablecoin in their stablecoin pair like Pepe USDT, but look what Pepe has been doing since March of this year versus Bitcoin. So after it left this 300 days accumulation zone, blasted. And let's see how much it rallied since here. Blasted. Oh, we don't have multiples here. After that, it had the usual correction. And I think this is the PO3, right? We can see here the base forming. And after that, another rally. How can you be bearish on an altcoin which is doing and just printed another all-time high against Bitcoin when almost all the altcoin market is quite muted, right? So when I see Pepe doing this, I think that from now on, any retrace, I should have already bought from here because my eyes was already here. I was a dumb shit. Sometimes happen with the best of us. But I think that any pullback, like how many does the market need to give us, in myself included, because I'm in the same position, in order to press that button? Let's say that this was a downtrend, correct? Let's be a little bit technical here. And we had a high, a low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. But already when the market shows you its hand, and let's say you were not convinced here and you wanted to be more Catholic than the Pope, and let's say we didn't break above the previous lower high from here, we retest, so we break, we retest, but already from here, when you see that we have a daily close with conviction, and when you pull back, we are already above this area, this, you understand that the whole market structure, so the bearish market structure changed from here. And what do you have here? You have the first high. Well, let's say you don't want that to be the first high. Good. Low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So this is a bullish structure. So what do you think that you should do? Even if you don't know, this can be orange juice, this can be copper, does not matter, right? So what do you think that you should do logically and probabilistically if the market pulls back anywhere, even until here, and it bounces? You bid, you start bidding, because most likely, and you also look at the Pepe USDT Bitcoin USDT pair, the same thing might happen from here. So yes, there is a probability, yes, that the fall is gonna the world is gonna fucking fall apart and we're gonna head lower. However, when you have the conditions that Max just explained, when you are clearly above the previous all-time high, and you can see that the market didn't want here, we had the pullback, and it shows you with conviction that we just broke above the previous all-time high. If you retrace to the previous all-time high and bounces, believe me, I'm not going to miss this chance, because I still think that Pepe is way undervalued for what might happen in the future. Because if the last bear market was so gruesome and we had such a deep bear market, I think that also going forward we can have an amazing bull run.
Man, spread, you know what the chart also looks like, man? It kind of looks a lot like NVIDIA. Like Pepe topped out right along when NVIDIA topped out in mid-March, and Pepe bottomed out right when the NASDAQ or QQQ bottomed out as well in mid-April. Like they bottomed out exactly to the day before 420. I find that so funny, man. Like what if Pepe and NVIDIA are basically almost the same thing in a way, right? Like what if Pepe is like on-chain leverage on NVIDIA, right? You'll see they kind of go one for one, man. You know what I'm saying?
What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking at this like 2 days ago, because I'm like, man, why exactly did some of these on-chain alts go down so much? And I'm like, all right, let me take a look at like the exact drawdown that QQQ did, and within a month, the Qs pulled back like damn near 10%. NVIDIA pulled back 20%. And one thing that I've been saying, I say this so much, but I say this on our spaces, right? Like, I think what NVIDIA is this cycle, that's basically what Tesla was last cycle, where like the entire stock market is reliant on this one stock to kind of, give you some signal on how crazy things are on either direction, right? Whether it's, super bear, super bullish, things like that, right? But
very nice find there. Very nice find. Now let me do something. I have just one indicator. I'm a price action trader 90% of the time, and I don't like indicators. Once in a blue moon, like I think once in a few months, I use RSI. But my indicator of choice, which gives me the extra confirmation that I need, is Ichimoku. Okay, so Ichimoku, I have been using this for the last 10 years, and just to simplify it, there are some basic rules. There are like 4 elements. When the price is above the Kumo, which is the cloud in Japanese, and above the conversion line, which is Tenkan-sen, and above the baseline, which is the blue line, like Kijun-sen, and the Kumo is thick and green, plus the conversion line is above the baseline and above the Kumo, which we have it like here, and the lagging span, this is the last confirmation. If you're waiting for this, it means that you want really to be a little bit later in the move, but you're willing to pay a premium. The lagging span, Chiku span, is also above the price and above the Kumo. So right now, if I didn't know the asset, I wouldn't give a rat's ass about valuation, and I wouldn't give a rat's ass about the current structure, and it did already 2,500%, and Max has big balls, and he's already sitting on a big pile of cash, and he's going to multiply it to generational wealth. What I would do, based just on this, I would wait for a pullback if it's coming to here, and I will bid. I will bid my ass off in this area, because I have all the elements which worked for me in the last 10 years being checked out. So all the elements for my indicator, besides price action, because I started with price action and market structure, being checked. And let me see how does it look. And Jesus fucking shit. So although I don't have so much information here, because this is a new asset, this screams, and I know you don't see me, you know that I'm more balanced. This screams 2-3x from here. I would say medium term. So in the next maybe 6 to 12 weeks maximum, 2-3x from here. Just by looking at this is extremely bullish. So there is nothing right now bearish, not even short term. So on the daily candles, nothing bearish about it. Any pullback to here, or to the previous all-time high, maybe even a liquidity grab lower, I think should be, and it can be an amazing buying opportunity. And I will use it.
And you have to look at it contextually as well. And you just say, What really is like the driver for Pepe moving up? I mean, yeah, it's culture coin, right? It's a meme coin. That's really important, right? People have to be able to digest something like this, but in its most raw form, it's Ethereum beta, right? It's on Ethereum. When Ethereum starts moving up and people want to put their foot down and take on a little bit more risk, they swap their ETH into Pepe. Really simple. So off of the back of this Ethereum ETF approval, you have to imagine that up till this point, the strongest ETH beta in the market, being Pepe, is only going to be catapulted further and have more of a tailwind effect from this this bullish catalyst. I don't think our targets are high enough, truthfully. Like, I mean, if ETH doubles from here, what do you think? What do you think Pepe is going to do as
Like I
premier
said,
ETH beta? You know, it's like
I don't think 50 billion market cap is out of the question. And I know it's maybe for some people who are just gonna join, or they're just gonna hear us talking and say, "Who are these fucking moon boys?" But please analyze word by word what we just said until now. And I want to add two important aspects. Sorry to cut you off, Max, but I don't want to forget this because it's very important. Before the stream, we were talking, me and Wabi were talking about the 10-to-1 stock split of Nvidia. What do you think that the broader investor is going to think when Nvidia market price, stock price is going to go from $1,000+ to $100? Do you think that 99% of the investors, like normies or retail investors, are going to give a shit about EBITDA, market cap?
Dude, they don't even know what market cap is, man. They don't.
This is what I'm saying. They're gonna see that Nvidia is $100 and gonna say, "Holy fuck! I missed Nvidia when it was $200. It went so high. Now I can buy Nvidia at $100."
Yeah.
So what I want to add here, and this is, I think, one of the biggest catalysts that Pepe has in front of everybody right now. And guys, when I'm talking, I hold zero Pepe, so I'm not talking my book.
Fred,
but
you gotta get on the Pepe train, man.
I will. This is what
my man.
This is what I just said that, Robbie. I said before that I own Doge and I own Floki, and this was one of my biggest fuck ups.
You must hate money if you don't own Pepe.
I know. Don't. That's it. This is what I said 10 minutes ago. I was in my AI train. I did pretty nice. I didn't do like you guys. I have my Doge. I have my Floki allocation is fine. So I had my DGen back, but I was like, should I take more risk? But I should have taken more risk. And this is why I'm adding extra.
Do you own Ethereum? Do you have spot ETH?
Yeah,
swap that. Just swap that ETH.
Yes, it makes a lot of sense.
It's 5 times leveraged ETH is what it is. It's just ETH 5 times leverage.
Yeah. Don't put the salt on the wound already. It's like, don't twist the knife. I already feel like a dumb shit, sometimes. But we all make mistakes sometimes. So what I wanted to add here, so coming back from the denomination, right? Because this is what normies do. And most of the people, when they come to the crypto space, they go to CoinGecko, they check the top 10. This is what they were doing in the last cycle, and the same thing they're gonna do now. They saw Cardano and Ripple, which were denominated at cents, right? And they're like, "Oh my fucking god, I'm gonna put $5,000. I'm gonna be super mega rich. I'm gonna do 100x." Well, maybe if you are a little bit earlier, but what they're gonna look, they're gonna see Pepe in top 20, and they're gonna see the low denomination. And they're gonna think that if they throw $1,000, they're gonna be millionaires from here. So this is another extra.
Hey, they're not gonna be millionaires, man. They're gonna be papillionaires.
Papillionaires,
man.
So this is what.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there is one more thing that I want to add here. So besides the denomination, right, which helps a lot. This is one of the reasons why I think Tao, from this current price, although BitTensor, right, I'm jumping to another topic, it grew so much, and now I think the price for one Tao is around $400. You're not gonna see Tao doing 20-50x from here because of this. Because normies, even if its market cap is lower than Pepe, normies, or most of the people, they're not gonna give a rat's ass about that. So this is one
we were discussing. So it's like this whole the top 2 meme coins this cycle have been WIF and Pepe, and we were talking about this where that actually might be a bit of an impediment for WIF, right? It was tracking performance with Pepe all cycle, but WIF right now is like $2.50-$3, something like that. And for the normie coming into it, they're not going to look at WIF and go, "Yeah, I'm going to buy like, 10 or 50 WIF. I'm going to buy 4 quadrillion of poop coin, right? Because they
Yep,
don't
yep,
understand
yep.
market cap. So
Max,
that's
yeah.
actually a bit of it's a bit of a headwind or a mountain that has to be climbed for something like WIF, even though I think I'm still very bullish on it. It's just different because you're totally right. Like the amount of decimal points, the amount of zeros attached to it, immediately every beginner is going to come in and go, if this goes to $1, I'll have this much money. But,
Yep.
realistically, Pepe
that's the
going to $1 is pretty crazy. So
that's the first calculation they're gonna make. Wabi, I'm gonna finish the other thing. I was checking last night when I had the call with my guys, and Pepe, this is liquidity. This is a mind fuck. Pepe had from all the crypto space, right? So I think it was Bitcoin, Ethereum, and I don't remember the other three. But Pepe from all the crypto sphere, it had the 6th volume in 24 hours. This is mind blowing. So in 24 hours, it had the 6th volume from all these tens of thousands of assets, and it was competing with the top 6 in the world. So I think this speaks volumes. Volume speaks volumes, pun intended.
Guys, I do want to throw something. This is a bit of an anomaly, right? We've got like almost 150 people in here, and we don't even have half the likes. Coach, I'm gonna have to bring you on in here, man. I need some backup, brother. Tell him, Max.
What?
Tell
guys,
him.
listen.
Bring up the soybean chart,
listen,
man.
I know it's Friday. It's almost the weekend. Everybody's tired. Everybody wants to just get through the stream, get through the work week, and go home. But this is unacceptable. This is egregious. This is the greatest crime ever committed on a live stream right here. Guys, we have right now, just on YouTube alone, 155 people watching. We probably have double that or triple that on Twitter. Okay. Here's the deal. If you are enjoying the content, if you want to help support the channel, if express that appreciation of this stream, express your appreciation of all of our time collectively, hit that thumbs up button, guys. Hit that thumbs up button, not only here on YouTube, but on Twitter. And on Twitter, on X, there's a special super secret function, the retweet button. All right. The retweet button is basically 5 likes in one. So if you really want to help us out, spread the good word, spread the content, hit the like button and hit the retweet button. Now, last but not least, the most important thing. Okay. The most important thing. And if you don't do this, then I'll just cut the stream off. I'll cut the stream off. I'll never stream again. All right. You need to go into the description of this video and you need to follow MisterSpread. If you aren't following MisterSpread on X, you enjoy poverty. That's that's the truth. That's the truth, is if you don't follow him, you don't like money. So if you don't like money, then do not follow him. It's fine. All right. But like the video, retweet the video, subscribe to our channel, and go into the description and follow MisterSpread. All right. I think they got all that down. Let's see how the likes are doing. All right. The likes doubled. We're up to 80 likes. That's pretty good. Thank you guys so much. We'll let MisterSpread get back to cooking on the charts. All right.
Yeah, who's not liking the stream? First of all, I want to thank you, Max, for that shout out. But who's not liking the stream? It means that he's sidelined. So only sidelines don't like only sidelines don't like the stream.
Guys, I do want to bring one thing up, right? And that's like, I'm not trying to hate, right? Because a lot of our guys within
the ultimate way to preface you about to hate on something is go, I'm not trying to hate.
Yeah. And after that, he drops the bomb on AVAX.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, in case you're new here, we have Max from Market Check. I'm not sure you guys know.
No big deal.
How big of a deal this is. But
I'll sign some stuff later. Don't worry.
But look, man, we've had some of our guys cover WIF from like 10 cents, sub 10 cents, right? And the fact of the matter is, for like half of Q1, right, everything was siphoned over to WIF, and it went from 10 to 20 mil market cap to 1 bill, 2 bill in a straight line. And usually when you have an asset run that hard, that liquidity ends up going somewhere else. So I want to show this. I want to show you this, guys. I'm going to bring up a little deck screener thing, if you guys would allow me to do that real quick.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring up Solana, right? This is everything on Sol, right? You see the market cap, right? You have things that are well over 50 mil, 100 mil, 200 mil, right? But then you go over somewhere on base, right? You'll see, right? Mind you guys, this is a new chain. I just want to put that out there. Do your own due diligence. This is a brand new chain. Barely anything here is like, over 10 mil or 20 mil, right? So if you had things on Solana run quite hard, where do you think that liquidity is going to go now that Pepe is going crazy? Do you think it's going to go over to somewhere like, you know, Solana, where everything has basically gone from 0 to over 100 million? Or do you think it's going to go over to somewhere like Base, where it's bit
going
more
over
newer?
to ETH, which is basically Base. So
yeah, essentially, right? So I just wanted to share that little piece of alpha for you guys, right? And I know Max, he covered Brett when it was like sub 100 mil market cap. And, you know, truth be told, you know, I think something like a Brett is potentially what WIF is to Solana, and perhaps WIF on Base is something like a Brett. Right. And, you know, you still have yet to find your bonks, your Mishis, your Popcats, things like that. Right. You've got a lot of things on Base that are starting to have, you know, some volume being poured in. Right. Some of these names, you know, you see them at like 5 mil, 10 mil, 15 mil. Last week, right, me and Tucker, we scooped some of these assets up and they were like sub 1 mil, sub 3 mil. And they're a bit higher from they're a bit more, you know, elevated from those levels. So, you know, similar to when myself and Max, we did a video on Solana, you know, in like early September, mid-September. Nothing was trending there. In September.
Oh no.
His VPN started again.
Wabi, you're rugging, bro. It's over. Fun fact about Wabi, while he's completely frozen here. Wabi has, in the history of the United States, the worst internet connection out of all of our 350 million occupants. The worst internet on every space. He can't hear anybody. On every space that he's the host, something goes wrong. He lives like, you must think there's like 18 levels of concrete above where he lives, because he just never has reception, man.
I think he's so rich after these 8 months that he bought like a cabin in Mount Denali, somewhere up in the mountains, and he's so remote right here that not even Starlink can help him.
Can you guys hear me? Am I good?
Yeah, but okay. you did get rugged pretty good there for a second.
Yeah.
So
okay. All right.
Listen, do you use Solana for your internet?
No. So where I live, it's but where I live, it used to be like a hospital. It's not really supposed to be like residential.
Okay.
Like it doesn't really appear when you search for it. So like the ceilings basically like create like a hollow service, right? So it's a bit muted when I go live. That's why like when I do spaces, I have to go outside. But YouTube typically works like pretty well for me, man. But sometimes it's just like
you're back. This is what matters, Wabi. You're back. Yeah. If you can pull out my chart up on screen. So while you're explaining something, I just wanted to share something regarding WIF. This is something very important, especially for altcoins. I had some talks with some people who still didn't believe even before the Ethereum ETF, and they were asking like, why you're so bullish? Why you kill steep on your thesis? I was like, first of all, guys, you know, there is nothing, exactly like Max said. You know, the XY is not at 107. S&P Dow Jones Nasdaq didn't break their weekly structures. We see that yields are somewhat topping. So economy is doing actually good. We saw good earnings. We saw quite good growth. We just saw the PMIs in the United States bouncing again above 50, right? We see that the job market, okay, it's a lagging indicator, but we can see the unemployment claims were fine. We saw the unemployment rate was doing good. The NFP was quite okay. The housing market is still doing okay. So we don't have signals from the broader economy to worry us. So going back to this, I just want to pull a little bit of I'm not going to say a warning signal, but as long as Bitcoin, right, it's very much bullish, and we started with TradFi. As long as Ethereum was not that bad, as long as the most of the big market cap meme coins were doing okay, a lot of people, they saw this, so they saw a clear, let's say, a finalization pattern when it comes to WIF, and they say, oh, this is a clear head and shoulders pattern, it's a topping pattern, for sure we're going to do this. And guess what the market did to them? The market punished them. So when we are in this, like in the first, I'm not going to say that this is the first innings, but let's say this is the second inning, right? Or the second quarter, for the ones who are watching basketball, in the second quarter of a basketball match, I think that is not plus EV. I don't think it's optimal to look for shorts on on altcoins, especially on meme coins, which can rip your face off. So you're gonna see that this happens a lot of times. You're gonna see topping patterns. You're gonna see some false breaks, some liquidity grabs, and after that, like crazy pullbacks. That's why last year, for example, in spring, when we had the bear market rally, because we were in a bear market, after every bounce or after every rally, and it was a failed rally, I was shorting. But now, since I think the last confirmation, if someone needed it, was when we broke about 32K in last autumn. Since then, I flipped my mindset. And even if we go lower, my mind and my mindset are trained to either buy the dip or either long that. Yeah, go on.
So, shocking revelation here. Max, you put out a tweet that says something about a failed shoulder pattern, something. If I didn't know what ticker that was, I would say, now hear me out, guys. What if Andy is front running what WIF is going to do?
I have something prepared for you guys because I knew that you guys were gonna invite me, so I prepare something for the BB fam, for you, Wabi, for Max, and for everybody else. I use clean charts, and I know that you guys you followed Andy for quite some time. So before we go into this, let's just study the chart a little bit. Let's just start it because Wabi,
is this the right Andy? Because there's like
is not on Mexi.
So it's got a different. So go up to your search again, Andy.
Yeah,
it's the top one there, or you could put it on Mexi too. It's going to be Andy ETH on Mexi.
But
no, so the ticker. No. So yeah, delete that Andy ETH. There you go on Mexi.
Okay.
Even better.
Jesus Christ, this looks better than the other one. I thought that
look good. Holder count's going straight up in a straight line, man.
Bro, so not only that, man, but like a lot of these charts kind of move in unison, dude. They really do. And
yeah, it's one big trade. The whole thing.
Yeah, it's shocking, Max. Like you would think that like all of these tickers have the same market maker. Truly.
Maybe they do.
that would be something. And another thing
sorry, Wabi, imagine being bearish after you see this big green, you know what? Like, okay, let's
like
say
the textbook, like the failed breakdown right there. It's like, yeah, I mean,
this is the perfect thing. You know, there is a picture on the internet with the market makers when they scoop up the little fishes. This is exactly that, man.
Yeah.
It's exactly that. They just scooped it up, and this is the last sellers who are trapped. And this is when they got blown out of the water, in my opinion. This is Andy, the close to all-time high when Bitcoin is doing what it's doing.
Yeah.
And, you know, I need to watch you guys. I'm watching you guys closely, and I'm a subscriber of your Discord and also to Jackie's and to everything, right? But I need to watch you guys much more closely.
Here's the thing with Andy, man. You said that you missed Pepe. I'm not saying that this is Pepe, but this is very, very tightly correlated to Pepe's movements.
Do you see what I'm seeing, Max? Do you see what I'm seeing?
Especially the past few weeks. So like if you want a really solid ETH beta with zero risk of like rug, devs like can't do anything wrong, like it's community run. Inherently for a micro cap, it doesn't get much safer than this. Literally like nothing out there. It's totally community owned, run.
How's the float? How's the float? This is like the question.
How's the float, like on chain? Or are you talking like if you were to buy it on a centralized exchange?
No, I'm just curious. Is like how much of the supply is already there, like from the total supply?
I can tell you right now. Well, it's fully diluted value. There's no like issuance left or anything like that. It's totally out there. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What's the market cap on it?
100 mil.
Roughly.
Yeah. I'm just saying, it's like you're not late on something like this. It's not like it's a 5 billion market cap. Like it's very tightly correlated to ETH's movements. It's very tightly correlated to Pepe's movements and Pepe's strength because of the narrative around it. Additionally, like similar there's a lot of Pepe holders and other ETH meme holders that are very invested. So similar overlap. It's been moving incredibly well.
So you're ready for Andy to be here in just a couple of weeks?
I mean, I think I do think it'll go to at least a few billion this cycle if we do have true alt season, and buying now with that concrete base underneath us. It's a lot safer now than it was 3 or 4 weeks ago, even. So, not to like red pill you too much on Andy, but if you're looking for some ETH beta, this is a pretty young one for sure that we watch very closely.
This looks very good, man. I have to say,
guys, I want to throw something right. I want to entertain this, right? So, last cycle we saw the total market cap of Luna, Solana, Phantom, AVAX, Near, Harmony, BNB even, because I do think BNB, that ecosystem is basically as any other layer one. When you combine all of them, right, that was basically damn near, 300 billion, right? If you include UST as well, right? And if we take a look at the meme coin market cap right now, right, it's not even at like a quarter of that. I think it's like barely a tenth of that, right? If we include, a little over a tenth actually, it's like 15% of it roughly. If we take Doge, SHIB, WIF, Pepe, and Brett, we combine like basically the majors that are over half a bill. It's barely like it's barely to the point of comparison. I think this cycle could perhaps be the meme coin super cycle, kind of like how last cycle we had the layer one super cycle. What do you guys think about that?
I think it makes a lot of sense, especially with the liquidity that has been flowing, and I think it's still gonna flow inside the ecosystem. I still think that people underestimate, and Wabi, that and the last time when I was on your Friday show, we discussed about the stablecoins market cap. Guess what? Yeah. Since then, I think we're up about 4 billion in the last 1 month, like on the total stable.
How are we faring, MisterSpread, from the all-time high that we set in 2022 for stablecoin?
I will come back to Andy, because let's just finish with Andy what we see here. Yeah. This is something that I usually talk with a lot of people, and I'm telling them that I think that the first time when we had futures was in Osaka in 1693 in Japan. So imagine, those guys were trading rice futures since the 17th century, and that's why we call them Japanese candlesticks trading, right? Because they were the inventors of them, and for centuries. And this is the reason why these patterns repeat and over and over and over and over again, because these are the people's emotions on charts. This is what's happening right now. And as you can see, this was the falling wedge with the dollar, with the Singaporean dollar on 15 minutes. But I think this is picture perfect. This is picture perfect, even with the support demand zone, even with the structure, with the break, with a higher high and a higher low. Look at this, higher high, and even this is the higher low, and I think we're just going to blast higher. This looks very, very nice. And if I was, I'm not going to say any bad names anymore about me, but if I was not aware or was not paying enough attention on Pepe calls, make sure that I'm going to do much more research, and I'm going to follow Andy much more closely, because this looks prime to rip.
I agree. I totally agree, man. We've been doing everything we possibly can, trying to help out the community as well. We're pretty excited about it. So yeah, so I like that you can provide that technical confluence, right? I mean, it's a very simple yet effective structure, right? You saw a perfect reaccumulation. Buyers stepped in exactly where they needed to, and now we're back above that recent high. It's pretty
exactly. Wabi, this is where we are, man. This is where we are right now, and people call. I saw a lot of people calling for tops, and we are still like minus. If you can pull up the chart, please. So what do we have here? We have the stablecoins market cap, which means USDT, USDC, DAI, and BUSD, and we are still the previous cycle all-time high was around $161.5 billion. Now we're at 150, so we are about minus 7% lower than the previous one with the current market structure and in the current monetary cycle. This is something that I don't think that people really fully grasp, because there are so many aspects that I want to bring up besides the liquidity. I think that if something does not pop, and nobody has any fucking clue if something pops now or in 6 months or in 12 months or in 18 months. If anybody knew, believe me, they would not ever post anything on Twitter. Nobody knows. That's why it's called the black swan, because it can come out of nowhere. So let's just leave that aside a little bit, okay? But we have something like the DAX. Let me open up DAX, because this is very important, and you'll understand why DAX is very important for the stables coin market cap and for the reasons why me and maybe you guys also are so bullish. German economy, since the Russian-Ukrainian war started, was not the beneficiary of cheap gas anymore. They have been building their economy as strong as it is today and their industry, because after the Second World War, from a treaty with Germany and Russia, Russia had by international treaties to let Germany benefit from cheap gas, and this is how they build their strong economy. Since the Russia-Ukraine war started, obviously because of international things that happened, everybody was supporting Ukraine. Germany was not benefiting of that. So Germany economy started deteriorating, and because German economy started deteriorating, people thought that their stock market is going to go absolutely to shambles. Well, that didn't happen. Yes, it fell a little bit, but look where we are today. And believe me, I'm tracking Germany data all through, and I was tracking it all through 2023, and now weekly, even now, and constantly German economy is producing bad data. You call it exports, PMI for construction, PMI for manufacturing, PMI for services. There is even a guy that I really follow, this guy, PQ, from United Kingdom, and I follow his websites and analysis. And he even has a meme, and he says every time when data from Germany comes, he just posts something like is a painting with a woman and a child who is crying, and they're saying, "What, mommy? Again, bad data from Germany?" Fact of the matter is exactly this. Stock market is not the economy, guys. Stop believing to macro fucking peeled doomers, because you're gonna go to a very dark place where you're never gonna see the light. Of course, we always have to have a bit of risk management, quite a lot, and a bit in our minds that the recession can always come. We cannot be moon boys. However, I just said right here and right now that for the past 1 year and a half, I think Germany has been fucking producing bad data in their economy. Look where is their index at all-time high. So the markets are kind of forward-looking, because they know that the European Central Bank hit their peaks in rates, and we're gonna go to looser and looser and looser and looser, right? So we're gonna go lower and lower in the hiking cycle. So lower rates means people are gonna borrow more, companies are gonna borrow more, and margins are gonna grow. So that's why they're buying the stocks in the German economy. So now going to this, if you think that this cycle ended, or if it's going to be a weird cycle, I think you're in it for a bad surprise, because look where we are with the stablecoins market cap, still -7%. And I think we talk about it, Wabi, at least 80% from here. So 250 billion, why not 320 billion from here? I don't think it's something crazy to think about.
That's what I'm eyeing too, man. And if we take a look at global liquidity, I think that is about.
You want to see it? There you go. Yeah. I have it for you. For you, brother.
I think it's about a breakout, man. Like you don't put that, long consolidation of a year plus without some sort of crazy move, right? I just remember Pepe, bro. Pepe was in accumulation for months and months and months and months and months. Pepe bottomed in June of last year and did nothing for 8 months. Nothing for 8 months. It had failed rallies. That's pretty much it for over 8 months. And something like this, MisterSpread, I think it's going to kick off.
I don't disagree with you. I agree with you. And that's why I think that a lot of people are still offside and sidelined. And if you're not following this, I can even drop the formula here in the chat or in the comments afterwards. What I do, I just look. So I look at the global M2, which is the liquidity for all the global is the global liquidity. But I took out United States, China, Japan, and Euro, all denominated in dollars, and because they are the biggest and most important economies. And as we can see, they take up to almost 90% out of the global economy. It's 80-something% out of the global economy, global money supply. But what's very interesting is that risk assets, they're following liquidity, and Bitcoin especially is following liquidity. So let's just take a look where liquidity bottomed Last time, liquidity bottom, guess when? In October. Let's see what Bitcoin did in October. It bottomed. Let's put something else here on the chart so people understand better how it's all one big giant trade. Exactly like Mike likes to say. Look, I'm going to remove Bitcoin so you can see. Look where S&P freaking bottomed when global liquidity bottomed. I think it was exactly in the same time. So as long as we have this kind of monetary conditions, and as long as we have the global liquidity still going higher, I have almost zero reasons to even be remotely bearish. Yes, I have my risk management. Yes, I still have some cash that I'm going to deploy, and I will constantly deploy in the next 16 to 18 months. However, these conditions do not look tight at all. And on top of this, if we go to the macro, I think one meeting ago, our friend Jerome Powell just announced that they're reducing the amount that they had for the quantitative tightening until now from 60 billion to 35 billion. So yes, it's not quantitative easing. So it means that they don't print like they did in 2020, 2021, but we don't have as tighter conditions as we had from 2022 and also throughout 2023 in the beginning. So I think this is my rant.
Yeah, I think things are about to go like full ape mode in my honest opinion. And going back to your whole thing about things usually bottoming out in October, that's sort of my thesis. I think the Fed is going to cut in September and October back to back, and I think that's all they're going to do. And then things are going to go up only right after the election. That's sort of like where my head is at. And some people they like to have these these other weird like event indicators, right? Like back in August, I think me and Tucker, we made a video on YouTube, or I think it was Tucker. I think he did a video by himself, and he was like how to prepare for the halving, right? And in one of his indicators, he mentions how usually 6 months before the halving, BTC starts to have a wild rally. And I remember when we were ping ponging between 25, 26K, I'm like, brother, 6 months out of the halving, I got to get fully deployed again. And it's just so odd that like this ends up happening as well right around October, right? And I remember we were having a space with a lot of the macro guys, right? We had Michael Green, Michael Cantro, if we had a few other guys as well. Back during that period, like a lot of like these macro guys that talk to quote unquote Bitcoiners, the laser-eyed guys, they would hop on our spaces, right? Because usually when things are like the tone of content on Twitter when it comes to spaces changes up when things get a little bit more bearish or a little bit more choppy, right? And that's just the nature of the beast, right? And I remember saying like, what if we have low caps pop out of this, right? I don't trade equities, but if we're going to go full on reversal, when we're 6 months out from the halving, I at least want to see some things in the equity markets. That's a good quote, Mr. Spread. You guys are also worried about timing the top that you have, and will continue to miss the entire move in the process. Man, dude,
does not belong to me. It belongs to these guys, and I want to give a big shout out to them because they were a bit of my guiding light, the market radar. I think they deserve a follow, because this is what they have been saying for quite some time. They are also on the macro side, but they say one thing, which I think should stick to everybody's mind if they're watching this podcast and they're going to watch it after. Price is leading, and price is the biggest judge of what's going on. Not our bias, not our anything. Of course, we look at the data like Max said in the beginning of this stream, right? Of course, we also have to look and have a holistic approach. But I think that the holistic approach, and at least in my opinion, and I can be wrong, it should be much bigger weight on price and market structure on higher time frames on the leaders of the markets, and a little bit less on the macro, because macro is going to give us some signs, but macro is not going to lead, in my opinion.
Yeah, we've had 2 major stock market crashes as well over the last 4 years, and that's usually an anomaly, right? So I don't really think that like we're gonna get another one of those for at least like another 3 years or something like that, right? And I think the only thing that we have, right, that the Bears can capitalize on is usually the little downturn that we have when the Fed cuts, right? And because I think like even in 2019, the stock market had bottomed right after the second time that the Fed cut rates. The first time that the Fed cut rates, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but that was in July of 2019, and then they cut one more time in like November or late October, and then the stock market bottomed in November of that year, right? Just as it usually does. It either bottoms in October or November. And then, of course, COVID happened and they were forced to cut to zero immediately, right? So
regarding cutting, can I add something very important? And I have to give props to Ryan Dietrich and also to Alex Kruger, because I saw it that he retweeted from Ryan Dietrich. There are three types of situations regarding cuts. But I think people are either lazy or they just want to have some confirmation bias. So let's discuss about the cuts, so people understand. Cuts can happen in three different situations. And there is an actually posted by these guys and by this guy, Ryan Dietrich, that goes back to 1980, that if cuts happen when there is a recession, that's the worst thing that it can happen. We can drop anywhere from 5 to 10%, within 3 months and maybe even more. And it can take us from 9 to 12 months to recover if Federal Reserve cuts because of a recession. Second type of cuts can be during a panic. This is what we just saw in COVID, right? They cut because of a panic, and we have that V-shaped recovery. So we go down for maybe 1 to 3 months, but after that, after 6 to 12 months, we're higher than when they started cutting. And the third scenario is normalization. This is something that it looks that we're going towards right now. So if they're gonna cut, most likely we're gonna go down for maybe one month, maybe 6 weeks. But after that, in 12 months, we are between 10 to 15% higher based on data and based on hiking and cutting cycles since 1980. So if someone is just saying that the cut is bearish, it means that they're either lazy or uninformed or both. So a cut, it depends also on the context, on when the Federal Reserve and why, when is cutting and why is cutting.
Yeah,
I just wanted to add context to that.
I think at that time, if you're in crypto, right, like the move is probably getting some like alt BTC shorts on things that have high emissions. But the thing with crypto compared to equities is that whenever we experience a downturn in the stock market, these flushes in crypto, the majority of the downside happens within one trading session, right? Like if you guys remember when I had that space on August 17th of last year, we retraced from 29K and we went straight down to 25K, and each pulled back like 20%, and that was the meat of the move, bro. That was
17K. We're going to 11K.
I remember when Naka was like screaming, man, during that space. It was quite something. But you basically had two drives down, right? You had that drop to 24K or to like 24.8, I think it was. And then we had a bounce to 28 going into the end of the month. And then going to September, we had one more drop down there. And then things basically flatlined. Things were flatlined in crypto for a number of weeks there, for like 6 weeks. And, that's just the nature of this game, right? So I think when things are trending, that's when we should be paying attention, to be honest. But I think the only thing that's really left for the equity markets to do is for something like an IWM to break out, which I think IWM probably gets its breakout this summer, if not sometime in Q4 after the rates get cut. And I think most of all, right, like if we take a look at seasonality for crypto, right, Q1 tends to be like one of the greatest years, specifically the post-halving year. So I think whatever pullback you get, second half of Q3, which is when it usually happens, dude, you just shove. You shove for that last like massive hoorah of the year, and you use those gains to get into some new shitters for Q1 of next year, man. And I think once again, I'm going to say this, right? This is documented. This is all kept within the dozens and dozens, and in the future, hundreds or thousands of archives that we're going to have on this YouTube channel. I think, right, today is May 24, 2024. To say this again, I think Base Chain is going to receive the same amount of liquidity rush that Solana had at the start of Q4. I think that opening tick of Q3 base is going to go absolutely crazy. And I mean crazy. I think you're going to have the first $1 billion meme. I think you're going to see anything that's trending right now. If it doesn't rug, God forbid, it's going to trend to 100 million plus. And we're going to see that same sort of, if you guys remember back in March, we saw this sort of, crazy rush to Solana. We would see a meme coin launch, like a BOEM or a Slurf or a Mew. They launch at like 10 mil, 5 mil market cap, and they go to almost $1 billion in 2 days. They go absolutely crazy. And I think when you see that on base, I think that's like max euphoria. When everyone is talking about base, man, when Ansem's talking about base and he tweets out a ticker or someone makes a ticker from someone's tweet or whatever, you see that thing go crazy, that is when you know that all that attention is on base. But right now, we don't have many people talking about base. So I'm gonna keep pounding the table, man, because what we like to do here, we like to educate and we like to entertain, right? And when these when these theses come out to play, it provides good entertainment, right? I told you so. Last week, Pepe sub 4 mil. I told you so. You know what's crazy? There are a lot of assets out there that have way less of a market cap than Pepe, and Pepe still outperformed them. And I'm going to say this, and I own none of this token, right? MOG. I noticed that MOG is basically like a 2 to 3x levered bet on Pepe. And when Pepe chills, MOG goes nuts. MOG went crazy yesterday, while Pepe just, went up like 10, 15%. MOG was up like 30%. That's one thing I'm going to say as well. That's something that I noticed. And I think that MOG is probably that second meme coin on ETH that can trade, where Pepe is right now when Pepe goes to like, 15 bill plus, right? So I'm just going to put it out there, man. I'm going to put it out there. Feel free to front run me, what have you. So, I'm going to throw this over to Max because when we had that Solana thesis, it aged beautifully. And I know Max actually front ran me in looking at base because he was talking about Brett at sub 100 mil. I think it was like even sub 50 mil market cap. So I'll throw this over to you, Max. What are your thoughts on base? And then I'll throw it over to MisterSpread as well, because I know he's also been doing some digging when it comes to meme coin sectors and things like that.
Initially, I was bearish on base because they didn't have their own token. I was like, why? I don't like this, right? I want a new shiny L1, and I think that it was different, right? It was different than what we were used to. But then I actually used base. I tried it out, and I was like, damn, this is absolutely fantastic. It is seamless. It is quick. It is cheap. They're using ETH. Like, it is beautiful, man. It's beautiful. And I just can't help but think, I mean, look, Coinbase they're a global powerhouse. Coinbase is most likely going to be responsible for the next couple 100 million users being onboarded, in my opinion. And I think they're going to probably flow right into base. And Coinbase has a really fantastic Web3 app, Coinbase Wallet. And I just can't help but think the easy, seamless integration to Coinbase Wallet for all these new Coinbase users that I assume are coming. It's just going to be a very easy onboarding process and a very natural next step for people that are entering the space. And again, ETH is fine. ETH is good. But there's a noticeable difference between using something like ETH and even something like Solana. And of course, swapping your ETH from just, native ETH to ETH on base, it's incredible. The experience is seamless. And again, you're seeing a lot of activity and interest. And I agree with you, Wabi. Some of the signs that we're seeing right now for some of these fresh, new, young, meme tokens that are popping up on base, it feels somewhat reminiscent to me of early last cycle. And even right now, like, let's go back and reference what happened in Q3 and early Q4 and early Q1 of this year. So Q4 last year, Q1 this year. What happened with Solana, right? When you have a chain that's so easy and cheap and fast to process transactions and swap, it makes the experience really enjoyable. And that really is kind of the main pitch right there. For onboarding people, it's convenient, it's easy, it's simple. There's an attachment to Coinbase and you can shit coin on it. So I'm bullish base, man. I'm definitely not like the base expert, right? Like I wouldn't look to me to know what the next hot base meme is right now. I'm doing my research still. But yeah, you mentioned stuff like Brett, bullish Brett. I think that's great. There's some other small ones that I won't name just because I don't want to jump the chart or anything like that. You never know. But yeah, Wabi, I bought some of the one that you were trying to get me to buy the other day just for fun. But don't call it out on here.
Boy.
Yeah, don't say it though. Don't say it.
Yeah.
Because if you say it, then everyone will start hitting me up. People were already messing with me. Like they saw you tweeting about some stuff, and they're like, "Bro, Mac's gonna buy this. Mac's gonna tweet about this." I'm not going to, right? I'm just having some fun on my own in private. This has nothing to do with you. Don't bug me about it.
It's something green. I even know what he's about. So
yeah. But listen, I'll say this, man. I remember when Max shared Andy at sub 2 mil market cap, and he said one thing: we're just having fun on chain. That's it, right? We're just having fun on chain. When things are sub 5 market cap, sub 5 mil market cap, you got to be careful, right? Like when it's sub 5 mil, you're having fun. When it gets over 10 mil, all right, maybe something happens. When you get across that threshold of 35, 40 mil plus, that's when it becomes synchronized with the broader market, and that's when it's like, all right, this thing is probably going to stay.
You're anything again,
below
Wabi.
like 40 mil.
Hey, Wabi, you're rugging, bro.
It's
over again, Wabi.
Until Wabi comes back, Max. In the last few days, I follow some very smart people on Twitter, like with a lot of experience. And can you, Max, until Wabi comes back, can you tell me what's bearish about this S&P 500 chart? Because I don't know what's the quarter case, man.
There's literally nothing bearish about that chart. There is nothing bearish about that chart at all from a technical perspective, and also fundamental. Companies are making money. Earnings look great. We're in a Fed pause window, which has historically been really, a nice tailwind for equities. Unemployment in the U.S. is sub 4%. I don't know what the hell people are looking at. We call that waffling. They're just waffling, or they're yapping. I don't see it.
Look at this.
I don't understand. I mean, it's extremely bullish.
So wait a second. I also had a chart from another guy that I just found recently, Fejao, and he's very nice versed and he's very smart, and I like that he's just calling it how it is. And he just shared the chart, and in which it was showing that right now the growth is not anymore just in Max 7, Max 5, or whatever. The growth is broadening, man. So now the market breadth is actually broadening, and now people are really pissed off because this is happening. It's like, oh, you see, Apple is not growing so much, Amazon is not growing so much. It's like every time there's gonna be a bearish narrative, and I want to say something for more people to hear. Your base case, your base scenario should be bullish, and you adapt to bearish to periods when the markets tell you to be bearish, right? When there is something that is happening, when there are some extraordinary conditions, because naturally and by default markets are meant to go up, and this is how your also mindset should also be, not always up and not moon boy up, but with some sort of flexibility to change when the data changes and to take fast decisions if something like dynamically changes along with it. But I spoke with a lot of people, and I asked them, like, if you're bearish, what's bearish about this chart, man? You want me to go on one day? Okay, on one day something might be here. But come on, man, it's like this rallied for 4 straight weeks, and you don't expect at least of a pullback, and it's still holding, and most likely today is going to close above the previous all-time high. And like you just said, growth, and oh my god,
there's a lot of money out there. There's a lot of money out there, and things are not bad. Like I'm in the camp that there will be a day of punishment at some point in the future, but for you to try to step in front of this thing, you show me the chart, I'll tell you the news. This chart is not looking like there's about to be bad news, barring some black swan. Yeah,
I agree 100%. Can I share something? Go on, Wabi. Go on. Go on, Wabi.
Yeah,
you're back.
I should have been back like a while back, but yeah. I'm listening to you guys talk macro and equities.
I mean, even MisterSpread, like really simple strategy, right? I'm sure you employ this in some of your TA as well. Like if you look at the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ, you don't have to necessarily pull it up unless you want to.
Let's do
But
it.
like there's some pretty clear technical factors which have historically called high time frame tops. And one real simple strategy to employ is just looking at like weekly bearish RSI divergences on the S&P 500. We haven't even seen momentum begin to dwindle yet. You know, so it's like you people are viewing the stock market in its current state like, you know, something that's just going to quickly turn around. It's not a jet ski. You can't like whip a U-turn on it. This is a big cargo ship. Okay. It's going to take months and months and months for something like the S&P 500 to actually distribute and roll over. And it's not going to be a quick thing. It's not a Solana shitcoin. You know, it doesn't just like go up quick and then, you know, immediately V drop. So I think a lot of people, I mean, truthfully, I feel like they're just lost. You know, we're trading in difficult times, truthfully, but I think that they're so overcomplicating it. They kind of have like paralysis. They can't hit the button. They can't get in the market. They're just stuck. You know, it's a confusing time.
You know what happens? And when they hit it, most of the times the market corrects, they go out and they go to the same cycle all over again. Because let the truth be told, guys, we've been through a very grueling bear market, and we had so many blowouts and we had so many nasty things that, especially in the crypto space, right? Plus TradFi came and also put another nail in the coffin. It was not easy for people after this kind of prolonged PTSD, which accumulated and compounded, to flip again and to just, you know, pull the trigger, exactly like you said, like, you know, break the band-aid. How much is still gonna, you know, how higher the prices need to go in order for you to understand what is the current context. What I wanted to share with you guys before maybe we call it a day. I can stay a little bit longer, but
I have like I've got like a minute just because we got our Discord call in a few minutes.
So let's just end it very, very fast. This is the USDT dominance chart, which is overlapped with Bitcoin chart from the previous cycle. So this is pretty simple. When USDT dominance goes lower, Bitcoin goes higher. So the first leg higher in the previous bull run, we had it right here. When USDT dominance fell, Bitcoin went up and they intersected with Bitcoin going higher. Here it was a little bit of a froth because it was July, you know, when we had that big drop. But after that, Bitcoin had its second leg. When the bear market started, exactly inversely what happened here happened. So USDT dominance went higher, intersected to the top side, and Bitcoin went to the lower side, and we've been to the bear market. Even before this move happened, somewhere around here, I posted an analysis, you know, underlying these very important events, and I just said, listen, the next and the biggest rally, the first big rally is going to come when the same conditions which we had here are going to happen, right? So guess what's happening right now? Again, now USDT dominance is falling. Then Bitcoin most likely is going to start rallying or even go higher. I don't know if it's going to be an extended rally. However, when you see this and this and this, so the other confirmations.
What's your target for USDTD? Because I want to share with you mine after you're done. What's your target?
For USDT market cap or
dominance? Yeah, tether dominance.
Dominance. So for this autumn, around 2.62.
Yeah, I'm looking at sub 3%. Yeah,
that's the real 2% target. That's the real 2% target, man. Not Jerome Powell's 2% target. Yeah. It's actually
you can share your chart, Max. I'm looking for autumn, and I placed this target in the beginning of this month. I'm looking for autumn around 2.6. So September, October, 2.6 for USDT dominance.
Yeah, I'm looking at a similar level. I think it's going to go sub 3%.
But you know what's the difference? And I think this should be mentioned. The 3% or sub 3% or the current percentages which we see right now, in nominal value, it's way bigger than it was in the previous cycles. Because in the previous cycle, for example, I think when USDT dominance was around 3%, we had USDT market cap around 50 billion. Yep. Now USDT market cap is 112 billion. So the moves and the magnitude of these moves, both way, don't get us wrong, because when the charts are going to invert, you're going to feel it also in Bitcoin and altcoins. But for now, these moves, so when USDT dominance is going to drop currently from 4.5% to 2.6 to under 3%, so let's say minus 1.5%, this 1.5% move in USDT dominance lower, in nominal value, is not going to have the same magnitude like it had before, because USDT market cap is doubled. So the amount of money, let's say the monetary supply in our ecosystem, it's way bigger than it was before in USDT dominance, in real terms, in nominal terms.
Guys, I gotta hop off. You guys can obviously hang out as long as you want, but Mr. Spread, is great hanging out with you, man.
Always a pleasure, Max. Careful with those balls, man. Take care.
Yeah, man. Dude, I guess I'll wrap up here as well, man. I gotta hop in there, man. So, guys, thank you all so much. If y'all have enjoyed this, you're new to the channel, feel free to hit that like button. Follow Mr. Spread. Description is down below. And also feel free to subscribe. If this is your first time tuning in, y'all, we are Because Bitcoin. We're an online crypto financial media company, and we produce 2 daily live streams for you guys. My name's Wabi. I host my own live stream here on the Because YouTube. Not because YouTube. Come on, bro. On the Because Bitcoin YouTube channel once a week. And outside of that, I host our Twitter Spaces Monday through Friday at 4:20 or 4:30 p.m. EST. Sometimes I do them a little bit earlier. So feel free to also follow us on Twitter. This has been brought to you by Because Bitcoin. I hosted Max and Mr. Spread, and we talked all things crypto, all things meme coins on Base. It's a good thing that you guys, are experimenting on there, right? I think there's some massive potential with some of these names on Base. Some of them are frogs. Some of them are.
I want to add something, if it's possible, in the end, because you guys were mentioning Base, and you said that I'm doing a little bit of digging. My chain of preference is Phantom FTM, which is gonna now flip to Sonic, and I think this can be. I think the meme season there can be really also explosive. So keep an eye on FTM.
I like experimenting, man. So I know you shared one of the memes on there with me, man. So I'm keeping my eye on that one too. So thank you, brother, for coming on in, man. It's been a pleasure. Guys,
always a pleasure.
Of course, guys, you guys can always catch the replay. Just click live under our YouTube channel. You can catch all of our previous live streams. We'll be back on, actually, no, markets are closed on Monday.
Yes, it's Memorial Day on Monday.
So, all right, long weekend, I guess, right? So we'll see you guys on Tuesday for Market Check at 11 a.m. EST, and then I'll be going live on our YouTube channel on Twitter for Spaces at 4:20 or 4:30 p.m. EST. Thank you all so much. Take care. God bless you all. Mr. Spread, take care, brother. I'll see you on Spaces sometime next week, man. So
see you next time, brother. Always a pleasure.
This has been awesome. So, guys, go crazy on Base Chain. Screw it. Throw all risk management out the window. Just everything on Base Chain. Put your entire net worth on an animal coin and have fun. That's what's going to happen.
He's kidding, guys. Don't do that. You can follow him for some of his calls, but it's just fun. It's a long weekend, and I think he just had a little bit of banter. Thank you, Wabi. Always a pleasure, guys. Have a wonderful weekend. See you next time.
Later, guys.